Hi there, welcome to this week's Video Weekend Warrior. I'm Mike Watchmaker, National Handicapper for Daily Racing Form. The three stakes I'm going to talk about for Saturday are the Mighty Bow Stakes at Churchill Downs, one of two stakes races on their night card. Saturday, I'm going to talk about the Honeymoon Stakes at Santa Anita, one of two graded stakes races on Santa Anita's Saturday card. And I'm also going to talk about the Penn Mile, the feature race on the biggest evening of the year at Penn National, where there'll be 7 other stakes races run. But let's begin with the Mighty Bow, which, even though it is not a graded race, really is of at least grade 3 quality, if not grade 2 quality. That's the kind of field that this race drew. I mean, you've got very capable turf sprinters like Will Call, who was a fast-closing second in the Woodford at Keeneland last fall, or Extravagant Kid, who was an excellent third in that Woodford after being close to a scorching early pace. You've got the accomplished mare Letitia, who is beating tougher males, but she's in very sharp form right now. And you've got Bobby's Wicked One, who, even though he'll be making his turf debut, is very dangerous in here for a couple of reasons. Number one, he won the grade 3 Commonwealth on Keeneland's main track 2 starts back, and then last time out, he won the grade 1. He finished second in the grade 1 Churchill Downs Stakes to the Met Mile bound Mitole, and now he goes to turf, being out of a mare who won on turf and being a full brother to a mare that won 3 races on turf, 2 of them turf sprints. So Bobby's Wicked One is cut out to do this. But with all the directions that you can go in this race, the one I want here is Ohm. Now, Ohm is a horse that has raced most of his career in Southern California in middle distance races with some degree of success, not overwhelming success, but some degree of success. But I think turf sprinting is what he, at heart, has always wanted to do. And he's had a couple of isolated opportunities to run in turf sprints, like, for example, he was a very good third in the ADD Stakes in 2017. But the race that really kind of jumps out in terms of turf sprint ability for Ohm was the 2016 Breeders' Cup turf sprint at Santa Anita. And Ohm finished a fast-closing second in this race. So you can see him in the orange and lime green silks, and he was way back turning for home, and he just finishes like a house of fire. And he does that despite the rider having lost his whip in deep stretch. And he was just a brutally unlucky loser in this race. And it's that performance that makes me think that Ohm really has wanted to be a turf sprinter all his life. And now he has the opportunity to do it at Churchill Downs. And the other reason why I like him is he's really poised to take a significant step forward, second off a layoff. He recently returned from an 8.5-month absence and ran in the opening burst stakes, a 1-mile, 2-turn turf race at Churchill Downs. And he was second all the way around the course until deep stretch before weakening late. He wasn't abused when he was beaten. It was a race that I think he's very, very likely to improve and benefit from. And I just want Ohm in the Mighty Bow. Let's move out to California for the Honeymoon Stakes. And you've got 3 fillies in here who've been knocking heads lately. Hostess, Maxim Rate, and Lady Prancelot have been knocking heads in 2 Santa Anita Turf Stakes in their last 2 starts. The Providencia in April, Hostess got up to win a 3-way photo over Maxim Rate and Lady Prancelot in that race. And that's what we're looking at right here. And then more recently, last month, in the Senorita Stakes, Maxim Rate took advantage of a very slow pace. She tracked the pace, and she prevailed by a closing Lady Prancelot, with Hostess finishing 4th. Those 2 races were very different, the Senorita and the Providencia, for more reasons than just the Providencia was at 1 1/8 and the Senorita was at 1 mile. The paces in the race were wildly different too. There was an honest pace in the Providencia. There was an extremely slow pace in the Senorita. I think this race, the Honeymoon, is going to be more like the Providencia. Not only is it 1 1/8, but I think there's more speed in here, and I think the pace is going to be more honest than it was in the Senorita, and that's why I want Hostess. And Hostess was significantly compromised by the slow pace when 4th in the Senorita last time out. She was also not helped by being 4 wide on the first turn and in traffic on the far turn, but she still finished willingly with a better pace set up this time and with some added distance. It's Hostess for me in the Honeymoon. Let's wrap it up with a look at the Penn Mile at Penn National. This goes as race 11 on that card, and certainly a threat of blue is going to be very tough to beat him here. He was narrowly denied his third straight stakes victory last time out when beaten a neck in the when beaten 3/4 of a length in the American turf at Churchill Downs. He was beaten by a horse in Digital Age who really has a nose for the wire. And looks like he might be a very good one. A threat of blue doesn't meet any Digital Ages in this spot, I don't think. And the cut back to a mouse certainly won't hurt him. He's going to be a handful in here. Still, I prefer 40 under, and because I think 40 under is going to offer a little bit of value, and I think he still might be a little bit better than threat of blue. And the reason why I say that is because 40 under I thought ran very well, winning the Pilgrim Stakes last fall at Belmont Park. This was right after he got his maiden victory in his turf debut up at Saratoga. This was his second start on turf, his second win. This was a determined victory on his part. The field he beat was fairly solid. This race earned him entry to the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf, but that race was run on a bog, and he was too close to the pace early, so I'm willing to write that race off. 40 under recently returned from a 5.5-month break in the Woodhaven Stakes at Aqueduct, and he was the beaten favorite that day, finishing second. But the course was very deep. It was a tough course to come back off the layoff on. And the horse that beat him, Clint Maroon, was winning his third straight and was making his fourth start of the year. So he had a massive recency edge. I think 40 under is poised to take a big step forward, second start off the layoff. And off that Pilgrim victory that we just saw, I think he's good enough to beat a threat of blue. So it's 40 under for me in the Penn Mile. That's a look at this week's Weekend Warrior. Good luck.